Hello, and welcome to the very first episode of what I'm going to be calling RAM Watch. And no, this isn't some kind of nature program. No, we're talking about computer RAM, memory, DDR4, DDR5, the whole works. And at the moment, unless you've been under a rock or asleep or something, then you'll know that the RAM market is kind of insane. We're literally talking about increases of 200-300% on the price of consumer grade RAM, which is insane, especially when you consider that's over the course of 3 months. Only 3 months for a 200 to 300% increase. Bit of a crisis. So what's actually caused this? Well, it's everyone's favorite boogeyman, AI. In order for these AI models to work effectively, they need a ridiculous amount of memory. And not only does that mean that some of these organizations running this AI are coming in and bulk ordering consumer grade RAM, but also the bigger problem is that the big three providers that make up 95% of the memory market are all doing the same thing, which is moving away from consumer grade RAM and onto HBM, which is high bandwidth memory. That's the real stuff that AI needs to work, and that means that they're not really making the consumer grade RAM anymore. And so we now have a good old-fashioned shortage. And I'm sure we all remember back in the COVID times when we had toilet paper going absolutely crazy. Well, it's basically the same thing, except that, well, they couldn't exactly charge that amount for toilet paper, but they can certainly start charging higher amounts for RAM. And we're not just going to talk about it, let's take a look at an example RAM kit and see just how much the price has increased in the last 3 months alone. So this was a RAM kit that was recommended quite regularly by people looking for RAM to put in their PC. It was recommended on Reddit quite a few times, so I thought it would be a good example. So, and if we take a quick look at the base price here, we're looking at $239, $300, all the way up to £400. Of course, some of these are out of stock, which means you can't even get it for £239 anymore. But that's not really the most important thing to look at. Let's scroll down to the price history graph. And you can see here, everything's looking relatively okay, relatively stable, right up until around the beginning of October. And we start to see some shifts. We go from the cheapest price being £89 up to $99. And then it all starts to go a bit crazy. That cheapest provider of £99 no longer stocks the RAM anymore. So Curry's no longer stocks that RAM. And everybody else that is stocking it, well, that price is just going up and up and up. And you're seeing here that within literally 2 to 3 months, the price has gone double, triple, and now, at the moment, we're looking at the most expensive version of that RAM being £419, which, when we take a look at what they were charging before, is nearly 4 times the price. 4 times the price within the space of 3 months. So that is your latest RAM Watch update. Stay tuned because as things develop, we'll be keeping you updated.